popcorn was excellent tonight. I thought I use the word verify, a really good week of practice in some areas that we needed to clean up coming out of Vegas. I thought the first half was really good. I thought we knew this was a team that played fast. We knew this was a team that could really shoot it. This was a team that caused some potential matchup problems just because of their lack of size. Sometimes when you, and I mean to say a former Division II team, they don't have a lot of size and they can sting. Kyle does a great job, and we spent a lot of time guarding the ball this week. We did I thought a very solid job of that, especially in the first half. We had a great week of practice offensively, just moving and sharing the ball, getting back to what I call .5 basketball, just where that doesn't stick, it moves. That's why we shot it so well in the first half. Great ball movement, great touches. It was really good to see RJ get going. He and I had a meeting, and he responded in a really good way. He just showed up and buckled down and worked, and I thought he was aggressive and yet didn't force things, and it was really good to see. I thought Matt was great in the first half. Ball movement, passing, rebounding. Had 9 rebounds tonight, and I'm so happy to see his ball go in. He's been pressing, he's been trying so hard, he's been trying to find it, he's been in shooting a million balls. It's just kind of one of those things. It was great to see because he's had a great last 2 days shooting it, and it was great to see that thing go in tonight for him. So hopefully we get him off the snide. So, had some illness going through us. That's not fun this time of year. I thought we battled through that okay, and we need a day tomorrow to hydrate and sleep and get healthy, hopefully before this next up and coming stretch.
Questions? Start with Jeremy.
Brad, I know you've liked Sky's poise so far. You've been saying you'd like to see him be more aggressive, assertive. What's his balance with that, and what did you see from him tonight?
Yeah, it's so hard to even have those conversations with a freshman because usually it's one end of the spectrum or the other. They're going to either be passive and run your team, or they're going to be ultra aggressive, and he's found that nice balance. He had a really good week of practice shooting it. He's become really comfortable in our ball screen stuff. He thinks the game, and again, it was not just making threes. It was his pull-up jump shots. His made some nice pocket passes and ball screens. So, he's rounding into and becoming very confident, and that's where we need him to be.
We'll go Brad and then Doug.
Coach, is Terrence Shannon maybe more of a playmaker than you knew he would be, like as far as facilitating your offense coming in? Because you never put up the numbers assist-wise and passing-wise before he came here.
Yeah, we're giving him a lot of opportunity. He had 6 assists the other night in the Virginia game, and in our secret scrimmage, we started him at the point because of that. Again, we want him aggressive. We want him downhill. And yet, as often as you have the ball in your hands, you've got to make right decisions and know that, we showed him in film, there were 2 or 3 cases where he got too deep and we missed some wide open guys in the Virginia game. But yeah, he's really good. He's a very good all-around player. He's a very good all-around passer. He sees the game, and it's hard to do when you go as fast as he does.
Coach, a teaching moment for Jaden Evans there in the second half. Was that about his defense? And
Yeah.
He's been scoring. Is defense the next step for him?
Yeah, and he was great the first half. He guarded his tail off the first half. And, he just sat behind a kid and didn't try to get in front. And like I said, I've told you guys, I'm not the best coach in the world, and 35-point games, but I want him to do it right, and I want him to learn, and I want him to know my expectations for him are very, very high. And sometimes when you're one of the smaller guys on the floor, you have to be one of the toughest, and I didn't think that was a real tough play that he made. So, coaching moments, nice to do 30+.
Derek?
What did you see from RJ in his response, and for you to have a meeting with him probably means you think he's pretty important to this team?
No doubt, and we just can't have 0 rebounds from him on the defensive side. When last year we played him 7 minutes a game and he would get 5. And, it's just, to me, it was about sticking your nose in and not being afraid to get bloodied up and hit and just going, just being a participant in the game, so to speak. So we had that conversation. We looked at 25, 30 clips, and man, he handled it like a true champion, like a pro should, like a guy who cares. And we know he's one of the best shooters in this league and can be one of the best players in this league. And sometimes it's uncomfortable for players to sit down with the head coach and have those conversations that aren't really pleasant sometimes. But man, he showed up and he worked his tail off, and it's great to see hard work be rewarded.
Brad, I thought Coleman Hawkins had a pretty interesting game. Only 2 shots, but he seemed really active in the first half, rebounding, facilitating on top of the floor, but then 4 turnovers in the second half, 6 for the game. How would you kind of assess what he brought tonight?
Yeah, I don't evaluate Coleman's game on his, he's another one that hadn't been feeling real good, but I don't assess Coleman's game by his points. No, we need him to shoot some balls, there's no doubt. And Coleman shoots them in the right times. And but he facilitates everything at both ends of the court. I mean, how good was he tonight at the point of the press? How good was he? He's our trigger. Is he going to turn the ball over a couple times? Yeah. Do we have to get him tightened up on a few things in that area? Yeah. But again, I don't want him to lose his freedom. But his game's, in my eyes, is not based on a point production, but we do need him shooting the ball. We need him shooting the open shots because he's a really good shooter.
RJ and Sky have kind of talked about Sky's growth coming here. He was kind of a shy kid, and now he seems to be finding himself a little bit more. What have you seen from him on that front? Is it kind of a natural progression to figure that out?
Yeah, just comfort. It's just comfort and confidence, and it's a learning me, talking to me, him and I having conversations and understanding what I'm thinking and tonight I said, hey, let's run this. And he said, no, let's run this. Okay. Because he's thinking the right way. And I just, I'm going to keep challenging both he and Jaden on the defensive side. But just the confidence that comes with being comfortable. And he's gaining that. And, we've started to see some of his explosiveness and his strength come back. And, I know that's how you dunked in your day. But that was pretty impressive.
That was on a Nerf rim.
Brad, when you get as fiery as you do with somebody, like you did with Jane and that, how do you know when you can do that, or do you do it to see if you can do that? How do you figure that out?
Both. But I think they all know why I'm doing it. They all know that there's, my expectations for him is so high, and it's easier to do in a big win. Am I going to coach him like that in the UCLA game? No. But they know I love them. They know I'm pushing them. They know what the deal is, and yet I need to find out. And I told Chester this. I said that he needs to be tougher. He needs to be tougher. He needs to be tougher, and he can't let crowds on the road rattle him, or he can't let somebody else talking to him rattle him. And Jaden Epps is pretty doggone tough, and I like him, but he knows I didn't like that play, and my expectation. I told him after the game, my expectation level for you is to be outstanding on every play, not just the ones you want it to be, but on every play. So, he's not the first one I've done that to.
You talked before the season about role identification was going to be kind of key to this team figuring out who it was. Just
I mean, it's only 6 games, but how far along do you think that process is?
We're gaining on it. I think on both ends of the court. You know, I think we're still, still trying to figure out the second unit a little bit, the second group. I know defensively how good I feel. I'm trying to figure out that group. Feel pretty good about the first one, but you know, as things get grinding and get a little harder here, and you know how we getting points and where's that coming from, and getting Dane the ball, and so some different things with that group. But I feel pretty good about the roles that we're just kind of naturally falling into right now.
Doug?
With Matthew Meyer, was it a process getting him to this point where he could have this type of blue collar, dirty work type of game that he had tonight?
Matt's always been a guy that's played really hard. I mean, really hard. And I think he's been a guy who's been valued as a guy who will do whatever it takes to win. And you know, one of the reasons we wanted Matthew here was he is a winner. I mean, he makes winning plays and has always made winning plays, and not afraid to get on the floor. But I think getting him to feel comfortable in his role when part of his identity is making shots, and he's not doing that, and you can't get overwhelmed by that. And Matthew's handled that pretty maturely, to be honest. But he's been, you know, it's not simple. He's been pressing. He's been trying. He's been working really hard at it. And like I said, this week of practice and the last seeing some balls going on.
Hey Brad, Coleman's been, excuse me, Coleman's been really great at making that extra pass. Can you talk about the importance of that in the offense for you guys?
Yeah, it's a fine line with Coleman because he's turned down some really good shots that we need him to take, and I don't want to discourage him from that. He is, you know, he's a kid that watches Golden State all the time, so he's always like, man, if we do this or we do that, his mind is always thinking. The problem is he sees things that sometimes his teammates can't see, and so there's that fine imbalance there, and that's sometimes when he's got to take a shot. You know, he's you know, player A or player B may not see that same thing that he sees, you know, where it was a hard closeout coming and it's a rip drive or whatever it is, but he sees that, and so he makes that, and he turns down a really good shot himself. So fine line. Coleman's fun to coach because he always, most often times, makes the right play. His frustration comes when his teammates don't see what he sees.
Brad, you said this was a strategic game to schedule after Vegas and before the Syracuse, Maryland, Texas stretch. So ultimately, did you get what you wanted from this game tonight?
Absolutely, absolutely. We got better with it, and the important piece to that was we went 2 days. We had a couple days of 2-day practices, and we were able to really grind on some. Not to knock Lindenwood, we didn't spend any time on them in terms of scouting report, very little till today, and shoot around. Everything's been about us and cleaning some things up, so we needed that, and feel really good about it.
Brett, it looked like Luke ditched the crutches. How's he coming along in his recovery?
Yeah, he's doing great. I asked him today, I said, you know, and he's back. He's back actually walking and doing that. I think he's got a couple weeks yet before his checkup. But doing great in recovery. He's moving it. We'll just see what they tell us, but he's progressing as planned.
Brad?
22 turnovers, 14 in the second half, and I know you're imploring them to push the ball and increase the pace. What's the balance?
That's not it, 22. We've had such really good halves, and you know we've had the 6 turnover half. We've had and it's just I don't judge them as much on a game like this as I do, but you can't have one where Sincere jumps in the air and tries to wing one off 1 foot across the court, and those are just plays that RJ threw one to late that Dane wasn't even close to being ready to post up and just move the ball. And guys are trying to do the right things, but again, we're just kind of a little bit out of sync, and be a point of emphasis here, moving forward.
It looked like he challenged Sky after he got fouled to dunk the ball. Like his next possession, he did it. Did you expect it to happen that quickly for him to go down and do that?
Well, I think it just the play happened, but I was mad he didn't do the first one, and then he missed 2 free throws, his first 2 misses of the year. And you know, we see that explosiveness and that strength and athleticism every day, and you know, that's when you go carry it over. You know, don't think it's just a practice thing, that I'm the only one that enjoys watching it. Go ahead and go do your deal, kid. And so the play was right, and he did it.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.